No trams like this summer. Why Ocean City pulling the plug for at least a year.
Construction causing chaos in Milton, the project that started an angry open letter to DelDOT.
Police cars on the scene in the parking lot of Rehoboth Beach's Walmart this morning. How they say one woman was hit and killed.
And we have some stormy weather that's closing in on us for tonight. I'll give you the latest timing.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
An Ocean City boardwalk free of trams. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with trams being cut this summer in OC.
You might remember last summer a small child was killed by a boardwalk tram. The fallout from that has been ongoing, and now the Ocean City Council has made the tough decision to put the brakes on boardwalk trams this upcoming season. Coast TV's Kevin Zapay shows us what that means for the town's transportation at large.
The ticket booth for Ocean City Tram is closed indefinitely, and now the council has made it clear that they won't be opening it at all this summer. Sean Barner says visitors and locals alike will miss it.
It's a great thing for the senior citizens and people that have small children, babies, and don't want to walk.
Last summer, an unimaginable tragedy shook Ocean City. A tram accident took the life of a 2-year-old boy. There was an immediate outpouring of support for the family, with stuffed animals left along the boardwalk to honor the child. At the same time, all tram services in OC stopped. It has been remained closed, and now the Ocean City Council has decided to keep the tram shut down this year, though that will take a financial toll. The town is looking to add an additional $1.5 million to the 2026 budget for the Transportation Committee.
In terms of the lost revenue from the boardwalk trams, hopefully we can reestablish a boardwalk tram in the future, but we know for this summer we're not going to have them.
Barner understands why the tram system isn't running this year, but hopes they will come back eventually and hopes they will be safer.
I think it should come back. They should just put in a few more precautionary take precaution with, driving, obviously.
According to the Ocean City manager, the town is currently discussing possibly bringing back the tram system for the summer of 2026. I'm Kevin Zapay in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
About $1.5 million was allocated for the transportation department between grant money and tram revenue. Now, since there's no trams, the town is looking to make up that difference and give the department more money. Now, they also want to buy longer buses that seat more people, but would leave fewer buses on the road. And that's because they don't have enough drivers. The town is also considering cutting 8 bus stops. Nothing has been decided, though, there in Ocean City.
And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what would get you back on the bus in Ocean City.
Let's take a look at the results so far. Take a look at your screen. Kind of split here. 28% say faster service, 33% say more routes, 28% say lower fares, and 11% say cleaner buses, which they do want those new ones. So.
And I'm interested to see if these numbers change, specifically because they're so close right now that I want to see if one takes a bigger lead than the other. If you haven't voted yet, go to coasttv.com or use the Coast TV mobile app.
Round Pole Bridge Road in Milton has been closed for a week, and it's staying that way until the end of April. According to DelDOT, it's for a residential subdivision entrance and road improvements, but those living on the road say it's a major inconvenience. Coast TV News reporter Zakia Jennings joins us live there in Milton. Zakia, there are a number of people upset about this change.
Maddie, 14 people along Round Pole Bridge Road banded together and sent in a letter to DelDOT about this road closure right here. They are demanding that the full road closure be changed to a 1-lane project by Friday, April 4th. Coast TV did reach out to DelDOT about that, and they say, quote, "We will not be making any changes as it is a complete reconstruction of the road, so there is no road to reopen until the project is completed," end quote. Wayne Leatham isn't pleased with that response.
It's kind of a canned answer that DelDOT would put forth. We asked them not to give us a canned answer, and they went by their laws because I mentioned earlier in this conversation, there's no laws on the book that keep the developer from closing the road.
The residential subdivision the road work is preparing for is called Twin Masts, and it'll go right back here. Back to you.
Thank you, Zakia. Well, for the second time in 2 weeks, a dead whale has washed up in Delaware waters. Today, the whale, a 35-foot humpback, was found in shallow water near the Indian River Inlet Bridge. You can see images of that there. According to Suzanne Thurman with the Mayer Institute, the group that helps with marine strandings, they plan to tow the whale ashore and perform a necropsy.
And now let's take a live look into the Lewis area right now. It was a wonderful weekend, but we've got some weather to pay attention to with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, as we look forward, what do we need to know?
Look forward with a leaning towards watching out for stormy weather for late tonight. Particularly, I'm thinking more so after 9 o'clock this evening, to be quite honest. I mean, we are at storm risk, at least at a slight level of risk, okay? And what we are mostly concerned about is going to be just strong winds gusting at about 60 miles per hour. And I believe this is going to be problematic until we get to midnight and even until about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're talking about late tonight going into early tomorrow morning. In addition to that, we have active small craft advisories for the along the coast, and that's really for the entire Delmarva coast. So we're watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds before the storm actually arrives. And that includes the folks that are over towards Cambridge as well. Here's a wider view showing you that we have no rain that's on the map for us right now. And here's what's actually on the way. We see this trough that's going to push through, but these are going to start exploding very quickly as the sun begins to go down. We'll have more on the timing of the storms coming up in a moment. Till then, back to you.
All right, Paul, thank you. A woman was struck and killed in the Rehoboth Walmart parking lot this morning. On your screen now is the scene police responded to around 8 a.m. Police say a 76-year-old man was loading mulch into his car. At the same time, a woman was helping guide him backwards when the driver reversed, hit her, and pinned her against the building where she was pronounced dead on the scene. People in the parking lot say there are safety concerns right there.
It's a scary driving scene down here. Haven't been here that long, but man, I've seen a lot of accidents and a lot of near accidents. And I'm really nervous about the summer because I'm sure it's going to be a lot worse then.
According to police, the driver was not hurt. The victim's name has not been released at this time.
One Sussex County city could eventually be home to a new business park and sports complex. The Seaford Mayor and City Council recently approved preliminary site plans for the 1.3 million square foot attraction, but it would be built on the north side of the city along Route 13. Seen here from our Coast Copter, or you will in a second. Mayor Matt McCoy says he believes that the project would bring jobs and opportunity for youth to the area. Some neighbors are lending their support to the proposal, but others, they say they're concerned.
I think the idea of having an area where kids can go now and play, potentially, have athletic facilities, I think that gives them that ability to do that. So it'd be great.
Oftentimes the idea is a lot better than the execution. So things get really, really hyped up and promises are made, but then those promises are not kept.
McCoy says planning for the project still in the early stages. Developers say with final approval from DelDOT, the project would take 5 to 10 years to complete. They say it would cost $125 to $150 million in Seaford.
The clock is ticking when it comes to President Trump's promised 25% tariffs on imported cars and car parts. The tariffs kick in this week. While some are optimistic about what they mean, one dealer says he's worried about his business.
For me, a lot of my cars are built in the United States, so it's only going to impact a select few of them, but still it's going to have an impact. Probably 30% of my business is cars that were built outside the United States. So they're all going to have an impact. The $30,000 car becomes a $40,000 car. I can't understand how that's going to benefit America.
Some U.S. trade partners say they plan to retaliate if President Donald Trump follows through with new auto tariffs.
And President Trump making headlines in an exclusive phone interview with NBC News. He now says he's, quote, not joking about the possibility of serving a third term. And as NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports, the president says he's, quote, very angry with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
This morning, President Trump is not ruling out the possibility of seeking a third term, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution's 22nd Amendment. He's joked about it at rallies.
It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times now.
But now, in an exclusive phone interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, he says that there are, quote, methods for doing so. and that a lot of people want me to do it. Asked to clarify, he said, "I'm not joking," but added it is far too early to think about it. Asked about one possible method, Vice President J.D. Vance running for president and then passing the baton if he won, Trump responding, quote, "Well, that's one, but there are others too." The president later speaking on Air Force One.
I don't want to talk about a third term now because no matter how you look at it, we got a long time to go.
President also threatening extra tariffs on Russian oil, telling NBC News by phone he was, quote, "very angry and pissed off at Russia's President Putin for criticizing Ukrainian President Zelensky."
Supposed to be making a deal with him.
And after slapping 25% tariffs on all foreign-made cars, Trump telling NBC News he couldn't care less if foreign automakers raise prices. Wall Street now bracing for another potentially wild week, with President Trump's new reciprocal tariffs on other countries set to take effect Wednesday.
We have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd.
Meanwhile, with protests at Tesla dealerships growing nationwide, overnight the company's CEO, top Trump ally Elon Musk, holding a town hall in Wisconsin ahead of a crucial state Supreme Court election tomorrow. Democrats are accusing Musk of trying to buy the seat. The billionaire has offered money to voters there who are willing to sign a petition against, quote, activist judges. Musk handing out million-dollar checks last night.
This is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will.
Recession risk rising, a new warning from Wall Street.
And we will need to brace for storms later this evening. Of the latest tracking coming right up.
Savannah safety study. The city of Lewis exploring paying for a study with DelDOT to look at safety concerns. Up next.
News at 5.
If you live in Lewis, you've probably taken a trip down Savannah Road.
Now, the city is considering funding a study with DelDOT to look at safety issues there.
As CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken shows us, both cyclists and drivers, I think it's a good idea.
Savannah Road in Lewis. Here's what local Anna Denny thinks of it.
There's a lot more bikers than there used to be, you know, and just tremendous amount of traffic.
The city now wants to team up with DelDOT to study safety on the road. Denny thinks it's a good idea.
Something needs to be done. I don't know what it is, but something they need to investigate and find out.
Back in January, the city passed an ordinance to ban parking on part of Savannah Road due to bike safety. But the city says the study wouldn't just be about parking. As a cyclist in Lewis, Joseph Kehoe says he tries to avoid Savannah Road.
They talk about being a bike town, but it's really restricted to the bikers.
The city says the study could also extend to Dutchman's Harvest and Overfall Preserve. For now, the discussion continues over safety on Savannah. In Lewis, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Well, for Tuesday, we're going to enjoy some sunshine, and we're going to eventually warm to 78 by Thursday. But it's tonight that I really need to have a heart-to-heart talk to you about, because we could see some severe storms. It was a nice, glorious kickoff to the work week. Beautiful weather for today, but we are a little bit hesitant to start celebrating all the way throughout all of Monday, because here comes a bit of stormy weather for later on tonight. Our Irish Eyes camera in Lewis, 79 degrees, well above the norm for this time of the year. Winds, though, pushing out of the south, and that kind of helps with the comfort level a bit for us. Now, for tonight, by 9 o'clock, we're still going to have partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies in Lewis, and then the rain will slowly begin to creep into the picture. Let's talk about storm risk first and foremost. We're in the slight area, not enhanced, moderate, or high, but we're at least slight, right above margin, okay? And that covers the entire state, so that's all of us. And I'm primarily concerned about gusty winds and some heavy downpours. You know, maybe some isolated flooding in places where drainage is always a problem, but for the most part, looking at very blustery conditions with winds accelerating beyond 50, perhaps even 60 miles per hour or more. So we're talking straight line winds here. Now, when you kind of widen the scope, where's the real dangerous weather? Expected to be down here towards the Carolinas. So this orange should stay away from us. As long as we're out of the orange, I'm not overly concerned about tornadoes or anything like that. But we still have a chance of some very nasty thunderstorms for us. Here's the latest look at radar. This trough is a setup, and this is the haymaker behind it with the cold front. Now, between these two, we're sandwiched in here. See that sandwiching? That's moving as a column here. But most of this intensity is moving to our north. So, all things being equal and staying the same, most of this should carry around us. but we're still going to have a chance. We'll still have a shot at the title, so to speak. Now, we have gusty winds for us along the coast for us in Cambridge, as well as over towards Ocean City, as well as the Lewis and the Rehoboth and Ocean View area, because we have the active small craft advisory, 25-mile-per-hour winds. One of our models is indicating this. By midnight, here's what we're looking at: a swarm of thunderstorms by midnight along Millsboro, and particularly in Pittsville. And then it's still swarming over us by 2:30 and 4:30. So that's one of our models. And that's the one I tend to lean towards when it comes to short-term modeling. And then we have temperatures in the 80s. The good news is at least this is a delayed arrival. If it was arriving right now at this within the next hour, I would have a whole different attitude with you right now. And the winds are pushing out of the south. But fortunately, that delay is going to help us avoid the worst possible scenario. But we're still looking for stormy weather for tonight. And then for Tuesday, we're looking at sunny conditions to recover. And so we're really waiting till late tonight. So that's how that's working. Now, another one of our models indicating at 10:30 this could possibly move into our neck of the woods and then really flare up by Monday evening and by 11:30. So once again, we have two different models that are indicating perhaps midnight, perhaps 12 o'clock. Now, for tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures in the 50s, well at 59, for example, in Cambridge, and we're expecting 59 in Berlin as well as Ocean City. And for the next few days, we hold off on the rain until we get to Friday and Saturday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we hold off. Thursday, we have more in the way of cloud cover, and temperatures will start climbing into the 70s. So with all that in mind, bracing for another round of rain, let's go ahead and begin to round this off, because here's a look at those scattered showers going into Sunday. So as we go into our last part of our forecast, tonight, 61 with storms developing late. And then as we go into the next 7 days, here's a look at your forecast.
All right, Paul, thank you. In Cambridge, work is set to begin this spring at Cannery Park. The city says Phase 1B will bring new benches, a swing, and an 8,000 square foot dog run with free agility features for pets. That's pretty cool. This expansion is funded by a $145,000 state grant. It should be done by late August.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 6:30, catch Stellar Fight 66, followed by the final score at 10:30 p.m. and over on the DSN Plus app. Right now, finishing up boys and girls lacrosse. That includes matchups between Kent Island and James N. Bennett, St. Mark's and Indian River, and Del Castle at Sussex Tech. Coming up, a court is deciding whether to release key records tied to the death of actor Gene Hackman. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5.
In entertainment news, a New Mexico court is weighing whether to release some records tied to the death of actor Gene Hackman. The court heard arguments Monday. The estates of Hackman and his wife are seeking an injunction to stop the release of those records, including photographs and video from the investigation into their deaths. The partially mummified remains of Hackman and his wife were found in their Santa Fe home on February 26th. The Hackman family estate's lawsuit also seeks to block the release of autopsy reports by the medical investigator.
In economic news, Goldman Sachs says the U.S. economy faces a growing risk of recession as President Trump's trade war threatens to stunt growth, reignite inflation, and increase unemployment. The Wall Street Bank is warning its clients that it now sees a 35% chance of recession in the next 12 months. That's up from 20% previously. Goldman Sachs also anticipates higher inflation and more unemployment. Goldman Sachs still expects the U.S. economy to avoid a downturn, but other forecasters think it's more of a 50-50 call.
How about this story? Stuffed animals aren't necessarily just for kids. Experts say adults can sleep with them too, and some think it might even be a good thing. According to one expert, stuffed animals can help with better sleep by giving the brain a signal that it's time to wind down.
Coming up new on CoastTV News at 6, fishermen fight back. Tensions grow in Worcester County as talks stall over compensation.
Right now, take a look out at Laurel. We have temperatures that expect to slide to the 60s. Starting to see early evidence of the cloud cover bulking up as we prepare for a chance of scattered showers in the forecast. We do have small craft advisories active around the entire Delmarva Peninsula. Joseph Selmeyer of Millville, congratulations. You're our umbrella winner, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruxted, Mandelis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.